your obedience now. I don't need any hesitation. I don't need you to talk about it. I don't need you to think about it. I don't need you to worry about it. I don't need you to play guessing games about it. I need you to do this, and I need it now. Well, what about this over here? If I do this, it won't get done. You've already talked yourself out of it, and that's how disobedience starts. When Jesus tells you to do something, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, do it now. And I'll share one experience with you, and I'm beginning to close. One of my favorite preachers, I listened to him recently, and he joked with his church that he closes his sermons on average of 4 to 5 times. So I figure I've got 3 or 4 left. Come on, buddy. But I was in high school, and not long had gone. This is not a comfortable story to share, and I don't like talking about it, but hopefully it'll help someone. Either that's here or maybe someone that'll watch us on YouTube. But not much time had gone by when I had really, really committed myself to God. I mean, I dedicated my life. I played around with God for a while, but I mean, I gave it all. I was living for God. I was in the Word all the time. I was praying all the time. I was seeking the face of God. God, use me. God, use me. God, use me. I'll do whatever you want. I'll sacrifice anything you want. Whatever it costs. But God, use me. God, use me. I'm sitting in class one day, and the teacher assigned seats. It's a new class, first day in class. I was one of those teachers. I couldn't stand when teachers would do this, but some teachers did it, and they assigned seats. And I was sitting over here, about halfway back, all the way in the right of the class. And who was assigned next to me? But the troubled kid of the school. The hard case. The one that I have no idea how to even say hello to this guy. He is such trouble. I don't know how to talk to him. I don't know how to engage. I don't even know how. I'm just going to sit at my desk and get into my bookwork and do something. If I don't acknowledge him, he doesn't exist, right? Are you with me? So he sits down next to me, and he talks to me. How you doing? All right. I don't look at him, he doesn't exist. If I don't look at him, I don't have to feel for him. If I don't look at him, God won't speak to me. Right? And God speaks to me and says, tell him how much I love him. God. Him? Say, him? Really? God, him? God, you got the wrong guy. Seriously, you want me? He's not. Tell him how much I love him. How you doing? All right, man, how you doing? All right. You hate this class as much as me? I don't know. I don't like that teacher assigned seats. I know, right? I always sit in the back. Me too, I always sit in the back. Yeah, because I like to go to sleep. And I just like to sit in the back, so that's where I like to sit. I sit in the back of the class. All of a sudden, yeah, me too. And we get to talk. Hey, what kind of music you listen to, man? And I'm like, oh, Christian music. He's like, oh, I mean like, and he named a band. What was that band? Like Petra? I'm like, no, more like an idea. So he's like, oh, I've never heard of him. He said, yeah, man, I'm heavy metal, man. Motley Crue, Metallica, man. I like that. I'm like, okay, I have no idea where to take this conversation now. I'm lost. So you ever listen to that stuff, man? I said, well, actually, I'm a Christian. I don't listen to that stuff. But before I was a Christian, I used to listen to Motley Crue and Poison. And I said, oh, yeah, what about this song? Bubba, he started blurring out lyrics. I'm like, dude. Right? So what's the point to this story, Pastor? Because here, now this kid that I didn't have any idea how to engage, I stepped out in reluctant obedience, albeit, but I stepped out in obedience. Suddenly, now there's this conversation and there's this rapport between us. And the Lord whispers in my ear again, says, tell him how much I love him. He needs to hear it right now. And I did. I said, no, there's no way. No way I can get through to him. Everyone knows his reputation. If I say the wrong thing to him, things are going down. And this reputation of I've earned as a good kid, a Christian who carries his Bible, that's going to go out the window because I'm going to have to defend myself. And it's going to come to fisticuffs. You know what I mean? It's going to be bad, Lord. He said, tell him how much I love him and do it now. Now the teacher starts class. And so I said, hey, I wanted to tell you something you got to say, Avery? No, I'm good. And I lost my opportunity. So, well, Lord, I'm sorry. I'll tell him tomorrow. And I felt this knot in the pit of my soul. Kid wasn't in class the next day. Wasn't in class the next day. Wasn't in class the next day. People started talking. No one knew where he was. I'm playing football. Always played football between services on church on Sunday. Me and all the neighborhood kids together played football in the yard. And this car pulls up, and this man gets out, and he's carrying something. He's saying, hey kids, I need your help, please. I hate to interrupt your game. Can you guys help me? And there's a picture of this kid. He says, this is my son. Have you seen him? He's been missing for 4 days. Has anyone seen him? Please, don't be afraid to tell. I won't tell anybody. If anybody knows him, even if you just heard something. Does anybody know where he is? And my heart sunk. 5 days earlier, the Lord had told me to tell him how much I love him and tell him now. A few days later, they found him. They found him in the state forest. 2 gunshots to his skull and 2 gunshots to his heart. It happened the day after the Lord told me to tell him. Someone had drugged him out in the woods and killed him. Came out later, him and someone else were fighting over a girl. So what's the moral to this story? It's not comfortable for me to tell that story. It was hard for me to put that behind me, that I disobeyed the Lord and missed an opportunity, a right now, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There's certain things that I could always do. I always had opportunity to tell my friends. I always had opportunity to go to church. But I was presented with a right now opportunity that the Lord wanted me to obey. Someone that needed him right then and needed me to be the instrument to tell him about him right then. It was only going to happen right then. It was that right now opportunity. And that's what Jesus was saying to his disciples. You'll always have the poor with you, but you're not always going to have me here. What she did for me. There's a purpose for what she did. And because she knew that this was the only chance she had, she was willing to do whatever it took. She was willing to break open that box. She was willing to give up what was the most valuable thing that she had. She was willing to come in here in the company of men, which is unlawful, and she knows that it's unlawful to enter the company, the presence of a rabbi without express permission of asking first. She knew that she could not come into a house full of men. She knew that she would be ridiculed. She knew that she's breaking the laws of culture. She knew that you guys would question her motives. But what she did for me because she knew this was her moment. She knew that it had to happen now. That story I told you is a true story. A year later, they had not found the killer, and they were under investigation. A young man comes to our church and gets saved. He's called to testify because they found a suspect, and it's his best friend. That guy that gets saved in our church was called to testify because he knew of his whereabouts and he was being used as an alibi of the night of the murder. And he comes to me and he comes to the pastor, what do I do? He just got saved, he doesn't know what to do. This guy's my best friend since we were kids. We were in kindergarten together. We're like brothers. I know where he was. I don't know where he was that night, but I know he wasn't with me. But that's what he's telling the police. What do I do? And all this is coming back to me, and I'm reminded the investigation has nothing to do with me, but I know this all started in a classroom in high school with the Lord saying, tell him about me, tell him how much I love him, and tell him now. And I didn't do it. All the good things, I was doing a lot of good things for God. I carried my Bible to school. I was in FCA. Matter of fact, I was a leader in the FCA movement in school. I was doing a lot of good things. But the one good thing that the Lord asked me to do for him, I wouldn't do because it was too uncomfortable for me. So it's time, church, that we give God that kind of extravagant love. And that we're willing to get outside our comfort zone. Changes are coming to Compass Church. I don't know what they are. It's not like I got some secret I'm not telling you guys, right? There's nothing I'm not telling anyone. I just know what I hear the Lord saying. And I believe it's going to cause us to get a little uncomfortable. We're going to have to do some things we've never done before. We're going to have to set some priorities that we've never set before. Because the city of Des Moines isn't showing up on the doorsteps of Compass Church, but they're out there and they're in need. So we're going to have to break our routines. Some of us personally are going to have to break our routines in order to be useful and fit to do what God has called us to do for the kingdom of God. Bow your heads with me if you will.